So the big experiment with socialist Democrat Zoran Mamdani is barely into the second month, and already cracks are showing. Mamdani is already facing serious backlash with the property tax hikes that are on the table. The free buses promise, remember that? Afterthought at this point, to say the least. And after a deadly snowstorm that left nearly 20 homeless people dead, critics are questioning his response and how he handled things. And so now another snowstorm is underway. And the solution? Asking civilians to shovel snow. The job the city is supposed to do. But we'll put that to the side. Here's the twist. To shovel snow in New York City, you need ID verification. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot make this up. And so we're going to break it all down. As always, if you do enjoy the content, smash the thumbs up button. That's the best way to let me know. To stay locked in with future videos, subscribe to the channel and turn those notification bells on. That way you know when I drop. Let's get into it.
Some hypocrisy from Zoran Mamdani. The New York City mayor is requiring multiple forms of ID in order for New Yorkers to apply to be an emergency snow shoveler as the city prepares for a nor'easter. This comes despite his pushback against laws that would require Americans to show ID in order to vote in elections. Mamdani's requirements lighting up social media to point out the hypocrisy of Democrats requiring ID to work, but not actually to vote, because it's all racist. And as Rich Zioli said a few minutes ago, apparently we're going to have all white snow shovelers.
And for those who want to do more to help your neighbors and earn some extra cash, you too can become an emergency snow shoveler. Just show up at your local sanitation garage between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. tomorrow with your paperwork, which is accessible online at nyc.gov/snow, and you can get started right away.
There's been this controversy over the snow laborers and the sort of what some see as onerous need to have documentation. Can you just talk about if that's new and what you make of the controversy?
This is all long-standing. This is a long-standing program and long-standing requirements, and this is a way that New Yorkers get paid to shovel snow in assistance with the city's response to a winter storm event. Federal law requires that employers get authorization and documentation to pay people for their work. We are not allowed to just cut checks to individuals for their work. And these are the policies that we've had in place, but I understand that for many it's the first time that they've ever heard about it.
Listen, I get it. You can't just hand out money without collecting information. If you're paying people, even through a city program, you need proper records for tax purposes, tracking and accountability. I get it. That part makes sense. I'm not going to argue that. The problem isn't with needing ID for that. This is where you lose me. You can't strongly oppose voter ID laws on the grounds that requiring identification is burdensome, as many Democrats say, or discriminatory, and then turn around and require 2 photos, 2 forms of ID, and a social security card for something like a snow shoveling program, ladies and gentlemen. That's the requirements. Even if that requirement has always existed, it doesn't neutralize the contradiction. If anything, it only highlights Democrats' hypocrisy with this whole voter ID argument. The argument from Democrats has been that ID requirements for voting are restrictive or suppressive. Chuck Schumer even referred to it as Jim Crow.
We're not going to stand idly by, as Maya said. We're not going to let them revert to Jim Crow. And if you don't think they want to revert to Jim Crow, just look what they did in the SAVE Act, which went back to took Jim Crow for the whole nation. By so making it hard, they said you need ID, and they made it so hard to show ID that probably half the people in America couldn't vote.
So when they frame ID as an unreasonable barrier in one context, like voting, but perfectly reasonable in another context, like a city program, shoveling, excuse me if I think those inconsistencies just don't add up. But let's check out the next clip.
So if they said that Save America Act is Jim Crow, this Jim Snow example in New York is really perplexing. First of all, there are 2 different sets of documents that are required. Under the Save America Act, you've got to prove your citizenship at the time you register, and then show up with a government-issued photo ID at the polling place to prove that you are the same person listed on your voter registration. In nearly all 50 states, you can get a driver's license even if you are not a U.S. citizen. In 19 states plus D.C., you can get a driver's license even if you're a known illegal immigrant.
Right.
And that's exactly why we've got to do this, because under the 1993 NVRA, if you fill out one of these forms, check the box and sign your name, that's all you have to do when applying for a driver's license to simultaneously register to vote. That's why that's not enough, because in nearly every state, you can go through that process. And as long as you're willing to lie on that form and sign your name to it, then you can register to vote. There ought to be more required than that. So if they said that Save America Act is Jim Crow, this Jim Snow example in New York is really perplexing. It's okay to require people to provide proof of their citizenship in the context of snow removal, but not voting. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. And the game they're playing, in my opinion, is one where Democrats try to frame themselves as being empathetic to everyday Americans' situation, saying things like, so many people out there, they have no idea where their birth certificate is, or they don't have passports. That's what you hear from Bernie Sanders, Gavin Newsom. I mean, check it out.
So this is madness, voter ID. It's not about voter ID. The SAVE Act's not about that. It's about registration. It's about proving your citizenship with a passport. Not everyone has a passport. If you, I don't know where you know where your birth certificate is? I lost that at 7. I mean, I don't even know where to begin to get it back. So these guys are not screwing around.
No, you're not talking about voter ID. That's the way Trump defines it. But you're talking about, now I don't know about California's initiative, but I do know what's going on in Washington, is that some geniuses think that before you can, maybe I have it wrong here, register to vote, you need a passport or your birth certificate. Do you have a passport or your birth certificate?
At the moment?
Do you?
I do.
Right, but millions of people don't. I don't have my birth certificate. God knows how I get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's how low they think the bar is. But they'll package it like it's compassion. And so, okay, let's play this out for a second. If someone lost their birth certificate at some point, wouldn't it make sense to replace it? Not even just for voting, just for life. At some point, you're going to need it. Employment, paperwork, a passport, legal documentation. You're going to need it for something. It's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when. And so the idea that is this impossible task, that's what I can't stand. And it's actually quite condescending in a way, if you ask me. And if voting is as important as everyone says it is, then why wouldn't it be important enough to take the steps to make sure that you have proper identification? But this is part of the Democrat ideology and how they view you. They need our programs to survive. They need our government programs to live. They can't do this. They need our things we put in place. They can't do that. Or they wouldn't be able to even figure out how to get their birth certificate and have proper ID. They can't manage on their own. How could they ever?
So Mamdani wants people in New York City to volunteer to shovel snow. But by doing this, they have to show 5 forms of identification. Now, I would do this, but I don't know how to do ID. I don't know how to get a social security card that he wants. I can't get a driver's license. I just physically don't know how to do that. But in true socialist nature, I'm going to sit home and be a volunteer, and we're going to share the work. You guys could do this. The balls on this guy to ask people of New York that pay tons of money to help out shoveling. Last I checked, that's all in the budget, right? And why in New York City do we not have hoses to suck up the snow like other states? I don't understand. Something other than just shoveling it to the side. It's 2026. There's got to be some technology to get rid of snow. Zoran Mamdani is trying to turn New York into a socialist state. Volunteer? Come on, guy. And 5 forms of ID to cover their asses insurance-wise, I guess. Isn't that suppression? Democrats step over their own feet every single time. It's like they walk around with 2 left feet, I swear.
If you want to help out and shovel, you do need to bring 2 forms of ID, fill out the paperwork, and your social security card. But to vote in an election, you don't need any of that because that's racist.
Guys, the mayor of New York City is calling on everyday people to become emergency snow shovelers because the last storm he botched, and the snow is left sky high all over the streets, along with trash and everywhere. And now he'd like you to head on down to the sanitation department and, just submit ID. I know how ironic that sounds, so you can get paid. And get out there and start putting yourself to work. Yeah, sure, man. How about do your job? Yeah, you know what? We'll come on down to the Gracie Mansion. We'll swab the deck for you. We'll wash your car, do a little light dusting. You want me to come over and do your homework for you as well? Emergency snow shovels. It's about the collective. This is turning down a very interesting path right out of the gate. It's looking a lot like you don't have a footing on what's going on, no pun intended, with the snow. Emergency snow shovelers. Are you nuts? Why'd you come to my house? I got a couple of things on the roof I want you to nail down, guy.
You really can't make this stuff up. So New York City's about to get hit with a big blizzard. They're calling it a bomb cyclone. And Mamdani takes to the stage, and he's basically telling New Yorkers, you're welcome to grab a shovel, come on down, and they're going to pay you to shovel the snow for us because sanitation department is a little short-staffed. But the ironic thing is that you can't shovel snow in New York City without at least 2 forms of ID. So it seems that it might be harder to shovel snow in New York City than it is to vote.
I cannot believe I get to tell you this right now. The jokes truly write themselves if you just sit back and watch. In a press conference this morning, the mayor of New York, Mayor Zohran Mamdani, said that they need New Yorkers to volunteer to shovel snow. We're expecting like a huge snowstorm again here on the East Coast. We just got rid of the last one. And he said that they were not able to recruit enough emergency workers during the last major snowstorm. So they're accepting volunteer snow shovelers. And all you need to do is show up to your local sanitization department between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. to register to do this. But here's the kicker. You need to bring ID. You need to bring ID. ID to vote in New York? No. You don't need an ID to vote, but an ID to shovel snow. You're gonna need your ID to shovel snow. That's what he said.
Crazy thing is, we're not even 90 days into Zohran's time as mayor of New York City, and it's already been eventful, to put it lightly. Right now, it looks like things may get worse for New Yorkers before they get better. And listen, for the New Yorkers who voted for this, I don't feel sorry for you. It is what it is. Elections have consequences. And for those who didn't vote for him, because everybody in New York didn't vote for Mamdani, many of them may not have much of a choice but to ride it out and weather the storm. But that's the update and my thoughts. Now let me hear from you. Drop your comments down below. As always, enjoy the content, smash that thumbs up. That's the best way to let me know. Subscribe to stay locked in with future videos. Until next time.